Marc Eckō's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure is a game developed by the Collective and originally published in 2006 by Atari. It is a third-person perspective action game that aims to combine the standard elements of video games like exploration and combat with something quite fresh and not so common in the video game world, namely creating street art. Does it succeed at that? Well, grab your stencils and shake your spray cans. This is Marc Eckō's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure.
Sending this one out to my man Killer B. No doubt indeed. Without weed, you know what I'm saying? That old real shit. There's a war going on outside, no man is safe from. You could run, but you can't hide forever from these streets that we done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook, cause ain't
The gameplay can be divided into its three core elements: exploration, combat, and graffiti. Let me start with the best one of those three, graffiti. I love the mechanics of graffiti painting in this game. Now, I've played a few games that let you tag the walls, and by a few I mean GTA San Andreas and Jet Set Radio, which makes me an expert in that matter, right? And this game does a great job at converting the real-life experience of graffiti making into the digital world of hex-coded paint. Here's how it works. You start off by choosing your design of choice and its size, then you enter the graffiti mode and start spraying. Your character logs onto the wall and you have to control the can to finish the piece. However, don't spray for too long in one spot though, otherwise you're gonna get the drips. But at the same time, don't swing your arm around like a tennis player, because you will leave the ugly gaps. But that's just the beginning. Those guys even added the shake the can mechanic. You see, every now and then you have to shake your paint to keep it spraying. All those little details really make this whole minigame work. You can really feel that what you're doing with your keyboard is being reflected in the game. Maybe except the shaking. You can't shake your keyboard to shake the can. I tried. Shake the can, train! Shake like there is no tomorrow! Graffiti mode is easy enough to learn, but for those who seek the extra challenge, guys from the Collective added the bonuses that grant you extra reputation. So you get extra points for no drips, for finishing the graffiti in time, and so on. It's nice, okay? It keeps the graffiti minigame challenging enough throughout the whole game. In general, this graffiti mode never gets boring, really. Not only there's plenty of designs you can choose from, like seriously, this game has a ridiculous amount of graffiti designs, but also you can experiment with other forms of street art. You can tag with your marker, you can use the wheat paste, paint with the help of stencils, slap some posters. It's all here and it's all well done. The only thing that really bugs me out, however, is the fact that you can't design your own graffiti in the game. Now, you can mod the game and add your own designs by replacing some existing textures from the game, but it would be really nice to have the option to do it in the game the legal way, okay? I mean, if Jet Set Radio from the year 2000 could do it, then why couldn't they add the feature, you know? It was the year 2006. Anyways, enough about graffiti. Let's move to the other element of gameplay. A significant portion of the gameplay is occupied with the combat. You see, in a world where art is a crime, that's literally what they say in the game, by the way, art is a crime. You'll have to kick some asses before you can spray some walls. Both the combat and the enemies you fight get progressively more advanced and complicated as you progress with the story. So you start off with some simple moves, some punches, some kicks, this roll that for some reason makes the NPCs freak out. Anyways, as you play the game, you learn new combos and you get new weapons. And you will need those, because smacking some random dude is pretty easy, but eventually you will have to find some tough boys. And they are definitely not messing around. Overall, the game manages to keep the combat fresh and challenging for the most part. I gotta say that near the end of the game I would rather avoid fighting the tougher enemies, but then again, maybe that's the point. You see, even though the game has some action movie-like moments, it is firmly set in the reality. And in the reality, when you bring a spray can paint to a gunfight, maybe, just maybe, taking a stealth approach and avoid the conflict is the better idea. So like I said, the combat overall is good. I wouldn't say perfect, but it's definitely solid. Speaking of solid, let's move to the exploration. The game is set in a fictional city called New Radius, and the city and the other locations looks great, alright? It has this cool dirty vibe to it, you know, the streets are filthy, trash lying around, graffiti covers the walls, abandoned buildings everywhere, propaganda posters here and there. It all just looks great. And even though we see only a portion of the city and we are limited to closed areas, the city looks and feels believable. Some locations in particular stand out. I mean, look at this government building, the cold and lifeless concrete walls, cameras mounted in every corner. Oh, the brutalist architecture at its finest. And the best thing about the locations in the game is that while keeping the design and the atmosphere coherent, they don't get boring. Sometimes we roam the streets, sometimes the subway tunnels, and sometimes we chill in the abandoned amusement park, with a great variety of locations, really. The world is well designed in terms of the exploration too. Thanks to the parkour elements, you can explore the world both horizontally and vertically. And I gotta admit, sometimes it's not super obvious what walls you can climb and what ledges you can hang out from. For the most part, it works great. Speaking of great, the story of this game starts pretty normally. Long time ago, in a city where stormtroopers wannabes patrol the streets, there was a guy called Train. No, not that Train. Trane. His dream? Become the coolest, the gnarliest, the funkiest, the most respected street artist of his time. And for about half of the game, that's what you do. You travel around the city, you tag the walls with your name, you fight rival graffiti gangs, and you slowly become Batman. No, seriously. Early in the game, Train decides to turn his scarlet letter, in his case the letter X, into his symbol. He paints it on his hoodie, puts on his tactical vest loaded with paint, and every time he sneaks to his enemies, he puts on a hood over his head. I'm pretty sure every time he does a stealth takedown, he whispers to himself, "I am the knight, I am the vengeance," but the game never really shows that, so I don't know, maybe that's just a theory of mine. And at the beginning, I personally found it kind of funny, but honestly, in the world created by the game, it surprisingly works well. You see, for the most part, the game keeps the tone on the more serious side, but sometimes it sways into the least serious territories. I mean, for God's sake, the chief of the police is literally called Chief Will Hunt. It's obvious that they knew what they're doing, but it's great, it works. Especially with the second half of the game that makes you fight the government with your street art. You can find the story of the game cheesy, but honestly, the more I played it, the more I loved it. The idea of fighting the evil government with breaking the law is just, I don't know, it's just cool. It's like that game shown like skateboarding. There you used skateboarding to save the world, and here you use the graffiti. It just makes sense. Now, does that all sound too corny for you? If yes, then I guess don't play the game, but if you just watch the movie District 13 and your blood is filled with the anti-government venom, then dude, you're gonna love it. You're also gonna love the fact that the characters in this game are made out of flesh. You know what I mean? Like, here's what I mean. There is not a single character in the game that just exists for the whole point of existing. You know, sometimes in video games and movies, there are those characters that are basically a lifeless tools used to move the story forward, but here every character is fleshed out, you know, starting from their visual design, personality, and ending on the voice acting, which, by the way, This game has some wild voice acting cast. I mean, they hired the freaking Adam West and make him say those lines.
Just say uncle, you cocky son of a bitch. Make your father proud. Give me all you got.
Yes, that's that Adam West, the very same Adam West who voiced Commander Little.
Please call me Ace.
Excuse me, Ace, in the movie Chicken Little. Now, how cool is that?
Enough! Enough! I'm gonna finish him off myself.
This game has been made by people who love street art, and it shows. You know, you can't fake that. You can't pretend that you are cool and that you love video games and you love the certain topic your video game is centered around. But at the end of the day, you ain't gonna fool anyone. You hear me, Ubisoft? Everything in this game just screams, we love this shit, guys. The design of the city, what the NPCs wear, the way the characters talk, the music that plays in the background, and finally, all the art you both see and you put on the walls in the game, all of this combined create this wonderful love letter to street art, but also to the street culture in general. They even put the real life street artists into the game. You can meet them in cutscenes, you can find their art pieces scattered around the town and take photo of them with your high-end future-proof Nokia phone, and our boy Train gets just delightfully fanboyish around them, asking each of them for an autograph.
Shepherd Ferry? Come on, I know. Andre has a posse. You world famous. Chill, guy.
The message of this game is clear. Street art is great, it's here to convey a message, and last but definitely not least, it's hella cool. By the way, I'm sorry for all the hellas, cools and gnarlies. I played a lot of Tony Hawk's Shred lately and it impacted my brain in many ways.
To be written in history, you have to know your history and always respect the legend.
Marc Eckō's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure, is first and foremost a great game about street art. It does an incredible job with its graffiti mechanics, glorifying that more profound side of graffiti, you know, that side that wants to draw your attention to particular problems of the society with its creative and engaging designs. Obviously, it's still a video game, so they threw some combat in there, some nice story, a little bit of buggy camera work, yes, and few annoying glitches, but really there is nothing game-breaking here. Seriously, for me it's a solid 8 out of 10. And I know that the default price of $15/euros may not be ideal price for a game from 2006, but this game is often on a 90% discount, so maybe grab it then and give it a try. I did, and I regret nothing. Well, that's all I think about Marc Eckō's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure. Thanks for watching, and now, if you'll excuse me, I gotta remove this thing off my wall. Fuck, it wasn't even that funny. Why did I paint my wall?